you get a video call from an unknown caller. The moment you pick up the call, the other person starts getting naked or starts talking about some random things, and then they record the whole video call, and then they blackmail you. How do I make my WhatsApp experience safer?
So we actually took down, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 75 lakh accounts this month. We've invested like $16 billion on this since 2016.
A lot of people are saying that now if you're running ads on Facebook and Instagram, you're just making Meta rich. You're not actually making money yourself.
We don't want a rupee from a business that's not finding value from us.
There are a lot of people who are impersonating me on Instagram and a lot of other creators, and they try to sell random things on our name.
You're probably you're verified.
Verification everybody can get. Welcome to the new episode of Figuring Out. In today's episode, we've tried to understand from the top leader of Meta India कि Facebook पे opportunities क्या है, WhatsApp, how can you use in your small business and expand your business? What are the opportunities that you are missing if you're not leveraging Instagram, Facebook, the hacks to crack it, how to grow your business exponentially, and so many more things. In today's episode, we've tried to understand whether the creator economy will last or no. Or do you think that Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp के help के through हम बड़ा business बना सकते हैं कि नहीं बना सकते? And the most important question of the day, that if you're advertising on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, do you make money or do you lose money? And if you want to make money, how to make that? So many important questions for small businesses, creators, how to grow in India, and leadership. How can you join as a normal employee and become the vice president of one of the biggest companies in the world? So today's episode is with Vice President of Meta India, Sandhya Devanathan. Before you start watching the show, please subscribe to Raj Shamani Clips and Raj Shamani Shorts channel, because there we put uncut clips from this episode, and in short amount of time, we make you a better leader. Enjoy the show. Thank you so much actually for taking out time and coming here. It's an absolute privilege, because I'll tell you a very personal story. I was a very successful second generation entrepreneur before I started my creative journey. Back there, before pandemic, with my family, and I was there, and there was something which happened back then, and I thought that, okay, I'm going to leave my house and I'll come to Mumbai and I'll be on my own. I'll build something of my own. And I got separated from my family business. I started from scratch. Okay. So whereas I had a business worth millions and I was having fun, I went down to zero and I started from scratch, like absolute zero. I didn't have money. And all of it in last 2.5 years since the time I've become like a full-time creator, I think my life turned around, and thanks to Instagram. Like for real, I don't think I would have gotten power. I don't think I have any other skill. I don't think that it was possible to even think about leaving a house and starting to build something on my own at the age of 24, when everything was super comfortable for me. I think Instagram gave me that courage.
Firstly, thank you for sharing that. Super inspiring, right? And the one thing I would say is, stories like that are the reason why a lot of us work at Meta, right? We hear these, and what you just said, which is firstly, you started off at 24, restarted, and you're as successful as you are now. That itself is inspiring. But the fact that our platform, helped you find that voice, find the audience, and of course you have something really. I was looking at the one that you did earlier with the Airbnb chief just recently, and it was really. You learn from all of that. I know where my next vacation spot is going to be. So I would say that, this is incredible what you do. And we're just as excited to be able to provide that platform.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to be here.
I'll tell you one thing about me, right? I'm similar, just like you, where like, okay, get up, 8 to 8, work, because I'm also away from my family right now. My parents are in Indore. I'm not married yet. I don't have any responsibilities. So all my life is work. because this is what I love doing. This is what I enjoy doing. This gives me sense of purpose. I feel like we're inspiring the nation. Like there are so many things that, we, and as an entrepreneur, as leaders, right, you will believe in this. If you're doing good job and you see even one life changing, you fill yourself with ideas that every day you want to change this life.
Yeah.
Right. And then you just dedicate yourself in doing work. So I do that. But there are times that I don't want to take break or exhaustion, but I get I get an afternoon slump. Like it's like every morning, if I'm awake at like 7 a.m. or 10 a.m., like 7 to 10 ke beech mein, anytime if I'm awake, I know that around 3 p.m., 4 p.m., my energy goes down. Like it's just, is it related to fitness? Is it related like over the time I get it, or it's just generation? I have no idea. But like, is this time, it gets super, super difficult for me to focus on straight jacket.
We're at 3 p.m. now, right?
Yeah. I need Red Bull for that. But I tell you honest, that's why I keep Red Bulls usually these days here. I used to wake up at like 11, and I'm like, my rhythm is more, I'm a night worker than morning. I work at evening hours more than, but because of now the schedule, I have to start working it during the day because the team expects you to be at the office at 9:30 and 10, and like you have to do it. But then Red Bull saves me, because then I'm like, okay, I want to, sometimes when I'm super tired.
Filter coffee saves me in the morning. and ginger chai.
It's a question since the time I've heard this, that rebranding has become something cool. Like everybody's rebranding themselves, trying to get into better things, right? Facebook became Meta, right? Twitter did X, and Google was Alphabet. Everybody's trying to, like, it is like a trend in Silicon Valley and everybody's doing it. What's the purpose? Like, why do you rebrand yourself? What's the larger vision? Because it was great, right? Like people know you. People know you by the name of Facebook. And I'm sure even today, now that obviously Meta has been super successful in changing the name very quickly, but I genuinely believe there are far majority of people who still know you as per Facebook, not as Meta. So it's time consuming, it's expensive. It's like, again, you have to take a mind share of people. Why do rebranding at first? And what's the purpose? Why do you think Facebook did it?
Look, I think different companies can have different reasons why they do, why they rebrand. But I can talk to you about ours, right? And look, I joined a company that was Facebook and is now Meta, right? Yeah. So in both cases, I bleed blue. So that's great. But the one thing I would say is, we were at an inflection point in our company where, when we unveiled the brand name and the rebranding exercise, also remember what we announced at that point, which is our foray into the metaverse, which we've always said will be the next embodiment of the internet, and will be potentially a decade or more away, but that we wanted to invest in that, immersive version of the internet. And look, I don't know if you've tried the Quest or the Quest Pro, our virtual reality headsets.
I know, but I've not tried yet.
Okay. Next time we do a podcast, I'm going to come with a Quest. Okay. But I think the thing that I would say is that when you try, you're transported. It's still, early days for VR. But make no mistake, like with, competitors entering the field, it becoming, the devices, hopefully the costs will come down. We've announced a headset coming in the fall at a much lower price point. So our vision was really to enable that technologically enabled immersive version of the internet in the future. And Facebook didn't just capture where we were headed to, because by then our platforms had also expanded. There was Facebook, there was Instagram, there was WhatsApp, there was Quest, right? And now there's Threads, right? So I think it was also a way for us to think about collectively where we were going as a company. We started as Facebook, but we were heading to the future as Meta. So there was a deeper meaning behind just the name and the rebranding that happened from Facebook to Meta. Talking about other companies, they may have, similar reasons, or other reasons. Lots of times, companies rebrand because they've outgrown what they started with, right? Yeah. And it's a natural evolution. But that would be my take on it.
Okay, tell me, what do you think is the most fascinating technology or a device coming in near future?
People have talked about smart glasses, right? And not like a Minority Report smart glasses, but things that can actually help and aid you. I think that is right now bulky, but that's the beauty of technology, right? As more and more companies invest in the space, as it gets lighter, as the technology evolves, that could also be interesting. But for now, I'll tell you very practically, and I'm missing it very much, is my smartwatch. That has been life-changing in forcing me to, get out, exercise.
Oh, yes.
And, I don't have mine with me right now, and I'm feeling the gap.
There you go.
I know, I was looking at yours and I was thinking, what's like those, and India's, I believe, Fast Track and various other watches are selling like hotcakes, and people are really taking to it as well. So
do you know what Whoop?
Yes, I've heard of Whoop.
Right, you've heard of Whoop. So Whoop, it's not available in India right now. So I saw it in one of the other podcasts by someone, and I just found it fascinating. I started searching about it more, and I ordered it. And then I ordered it because I saw one of my podcasters, like guests. There was Cars 24's founder Vikram. He was wearing it, and it looked super cool. I'm like, and I try to understand what does they do, this and that. He's like, it will track your daily sleep and strain level. So it'll tell you when to sleep, what time to wake up, and stuff like that. Since the time I have this on, oh my God, I'm bombarded with Whoop notifications every day. It teaches me that you have to sleep right now. You have to, I have a terrible sleeping schedule.
So your teacher?
Yeah, this Whoop is my teacher. It's very interesting and fascinating. I think all the other watches I've tried, they give you XYZ things and it's great. I think Whoop works best for me because the only thing I want to track is my sleep, because I don't sleep at all, like 4 hours a day max. But now what Whoop has done, it's time to go to bed. And the moment Whoop said, it makes me guilty that I can't work anymore. So even if, let's say, I'm not getting my optimal 8 hours, but the moment Whoop gives me a notification, I try to shut down everything in the next 30 to 45 minutes. And then I close down.
You just sold me Whoop.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Whoop, my commissions. Come on, guys.
I know.
But no, it works out really well. Okay. Well, WhatsApp question. India, a lot of people say, is a trust deficit country. Right? Usually people, I kind of disagree with this, but I'm just talking about a macro. Right? People say that it's very difficult for Indians to trust each other, and it's very difficult for people to, especially when it comes to payments, numbers, and things like that. Did you face this problem when you introduced WhatsApp? Because people were like, in the beginning, they were not trusting your platform for maybe sharing the images, sharing the videos, sharing video calls, or now the payments. I think you've started with, you can directly do the payments, and there's a WhatsApp business. There are multiple things. So there's a whole ecosystem of WhatsApp business that's going on, and a lot of privacy as well. Did you face that problem in India, like a trust deficit problem?
Look, I would say, I think I can't talk to, when we first set up, because if I look at WhatsApp now, it's like we discussed, it's a verb.
It's a
almost,
synonym,
right? People, I wake up to good morning messages from my family, and I go to bed if I haven't responded from angry messages from them saying, good morning, bola, koi reply nahi kiya. So I feel like it's in the fabric of, I would wager a bet that most people that, use a messaging platform of some sort may also use WhatsApp along with, the others that are out there. So I would say that what I have noticed is that people use WhatsApp very effectively to message friends, family, I think forming groups, sharing pictures, videos, all of that happens because it's private. And that's why if you think about the private messages between you and, your friend, that's encrypted. Your private messages are always encrypted, right? And that's only that's this, personal space between the two of you. So I think that's helped a lot in terms of our focus on privacy and not breaking that encryption when two people talk to each other, especially when it's family or friends. I think the second part that I think, what I've seen at least, is how comfortable Indians are in talking to a business. Right? So it's this could be your Kirana store person sending a message. It could be from their personal account, or they've downloaded the WhatsApp business app, that SMB app, which is free for everyone to use. But sending the catalog, getting list ready, taking appointments, all of that. That has been a pretty big surprise to me since I moved here, like how much is actually happening on WhatsApp. I myself, right, use WhatsApp I probably discover a ton on Instagram, and sometimes I'll buy on Instagram messaging as well. But a lot of the action has also moved to WhatsApp for me, from Instagram to WhatsApp. The other bit that I've seen is also it helps when, large businesses use WhatsApp to further their services. So think your banks. Probably I activated my card using WhatsApp. I get my statement balances on WhatsApp. Farmers, use HDFC Ergo to buy insurance from villages. So it's almost like
I get my movie tickets through WhatsApp.
Movie tickets. And I think during the time of COVID, if I'm not, when MyGov launched the chatbot, 80 million Indians, which is 8 crore Indians, actually used the chatbot to get information on COVID, because you needed a place to get reliable information. And where better than the government, right, through MyGov. And 30 million people downloaded vaccination certificates. So as people are building more and more innovative experiences, as businesses are building more and more innovative experiences, I think people's trust factor obviously keeps going up. Because more than trust, do you find value in the platform, right? Either in terms of the connections you're making, the discoveries that you're making, like you've discovered a creator, which is Raj, like talking to all the CPG distributor network, right?
Yeah.
People took to you because you had something important and interesting and useful to share. So as long as the platform can continue to do that, and that's powered by community, that's not us, right? We can provide the tools and the platform. I think, we'll have a place in people's hearts.
I have 2 questions on this. How you have been able, specifically in India, able to make people trust on WhatsApp more than, let's say, Telegram. We were talking about features and stuff. Like Telegram has enough features. What do you think? Why did you guys win over Telegram in India?
Look,
because it has all the features as well. And in fact, few things you can't do on WhatsApp, you can do on Telegram. But still people don't use it, and they so Telegram is considered more like, let's say, like you can get scammed easily, you can do multiple things there. It's just, so there's no negative connotation attached to WhatsApp. Like why and how was that possible?
Look, I can't speak for Telegram, and I think there's a lot of space for a lot of messaging apps to exist in our country, and they should exist and they should thrive, right? But I would say, I'll tell you, I think at WhatsApp, user safety and privacy has been at the core of how they build features. And if you saw even the recent features that you've used, which is silence unknown callers, right? Or, the WhatsApp privacy center that we launched, where you can go and see all your settings in one place. I think our learning that has come from interacting with users and seeing behavior on our platforms is learning continuously from them and building for them, right? And I think the reason why you probably see India is one of our largest markets. So we learn a lot from the behavior that we see in India, and we build also, hopefully, to meet the needs of the Indian users. So I think that's what we've done well. And if you see, some of them have been innovative and new stuff, right? Like JioMart is a commerce experience we've done nowhere else in the world. We first piloted it in India. And with a partner like Jio, where they're also established, we're established. So it's not, so you do see some of those synergies as well come in, which let us innovate in this market. So I would say listening to the users, keeping user safety, user privacy at the core of what we do, and specifically thinking about what would work in India and building for that has helped. And hence you see a lot of slew of new product launches. I think we've multiple users, like now you can do work calls, right? So I think that's also come out of behavior. So typically how we've always built product at Meta is our energy is gone where the user behavior has been. In terms of what we're organically seeing on the platform, whether, it builds on the features that we already have, whether it amplifies good user experience on our platform, and that's how we build. That's how we build for businesses as well. So a lot of the tools that we've built, so we've you can launch ads from WhatsApp itself, Because what we realized was small businesses, very small businesses won't necessarily, go to Facebook, set up an account there, start their ad from there to, go to WhatsApp. Equally, what we've noticed is lots of businesses, as they get a little more sophisticated, want to reach the Facebook, Instagram audience and then get to WhatsApp. So Juicy Chemistry is a perfect example of a company that started off actually with a presence on Facebook pages, then started using that audience that they built to also build a business on WhatsApp. So we've seen pretty interesting examples like that, but our energy always goes where we see where the user is headed, like what trends are we seeing, and similarly, what do businesses need of us, and similarly, what do creators need of us.
Interesting. Okay. Since you focus a lot on security, there are a lot of things that are happening in recent times that we got to know. That is, you get a video call from an unknown caller, that the moment you pick up the call, the other person starts getting naked or starts talking about some random things or just try to show you explicit content, and then they record the whole video call, and then they blackmail you by later sending you, hey, you were on a sex chat with me, I'm gonna put it out in the world. They try to extort money or they try to do certain things. When things like these get reported, what do you do in order to make sure that they don't happen again? Because these kind of things are bound to happen with every platform around the world, and they keep happening, and people will find out a turnaround way. But how do I make my WhatsApp experience safer? And what as a platform doing so that I don't get stuck in these things?
So I think for what we've noticed is when we see behavior like that, when in response, not just in response, we're continuously making it safer on our platform. So you can silence unknown callers. You have a WhatsApp privacy center. What we've also done is invested in education. So if you saw some of the privacy campaigns that we're running, talk about how it's not enough to have the tools. It's also important that people know that those tools exist, right? And for example, on businesses, if there's a business that's harassing you on WhatsApp, you can block that business, you can report that business. So it's important to build the tool, but equally it's important for you to know that ये tool exists करता है, that I have the agency to use it. So I would say we also publish reports on how many accounts we've blocked. As a result, we cooperate, on anything where the law requires us to. We also cooperate. So there's a bunch of things that we do in that space. But this is a bit of a whack-a-mole, right? Because there's always, like you said, across platforms, there are very smart actors out there that are always trying to figure out how to get that next quick buck from a user. So our job is never done. So we'll have to keep investing, we'll have to keep learning, and we'll have to keep getting better at what we do.
Okay, so now this gets me to on Instagram. Because, so you said you can report a business, you can report people, anyone who's trying to do it. And if there are multiple reports against that one account, you get it. There must be some threshold that you block the person, right? And you revoke their access. Is that what happens?
There's a policy where we do take down accounts, yes.
Okay.
Or we block accounts.
So is there a number that, okay, if I'm a unknown WhatsApp
we
caller,
have community guidelines and we share that very widely in terms of what's allowed on our platform, what's not. So that's widely published. So I would recommend pretty much every business or every user to acquaint themselves with what's allowed and what's not allowed on the platform, because we then don't break it down to you later and say is wajah se you've been blocked. But so prevention is the best form of response to that. The other thing that I would say is that we've also been using a lot of AI to take down harmful content on our platforms, to take down misinformation. 85% of content that we classify as harmful or violating, we take down even before a human eye can see them. So we've invested like $16 billion on this since 2016. So this is an area we take seriously, but we use a mix of technology because human content moderators alone can't do the job.
Just like if there's someone who's doing this video call with me and I block them, I report them, I report it to Meta. What do you think? How many reports does it get?
So we actually publish numbers every month. So we actually took down, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 75 lakh accounts this month. 7.5 million.
So
right?
I'm talking you took them down, but how many reports or Like how many?
We
there's
break
no.
down the numbers that where we do block. So, where we've investigated and we block them. So that number is there and it's published. We also report it for Facebook and Instagram where we share how many pieces of content were taken down. It's all in the public domain and we publish every month. This is just for India.
Okay, and let's say the creator question now. There are a lot of people who are impersonating me on Instagram and a lot of other creators, and they try to sell random things on our name because they're like, hey, I'm from Raj Shamani's close community. I'll give you some stock market tip, come invest with me. All that is happening. It's like very common. Okay, so how many reports or blocks do I need to do on this person so that this person gets never gets to make their account again?
Look, I would say a couple of things, right? Rather than talk about Raj Shamani, and since you're really successful, people will, imitation is the best form of flattery, or as they say. I'm sure you see many people wanting to be you, but I would say it goes back to users also being aware of who's real and who's not. You're probably you're verified.
Verification everybody can get.
Yeah, but to get verified, you still have to submit documents and stuff like that, right? So I would say that there is a fair amount of checks that come with you being such a massive content creator with the kind of following that you have. And so I would say some of this also is users being much more aware, and that's where we've played. We're also investing our resources. So some of the things that we're doing is around Instagram. With Karishma Kapoor. I think last month or the month before, we talked about keeping kids safe on the platform. How can parents think about parental consent and controls and things like that. But having those broader conversations, because that's how people learn also. So we've been investing in that. We're also investing in with CBSE. We just announced this partnership. We'd announced the partnership with CBSE. We reiterated our commitment yesterday. In addition to teaching new and emerging technologies like XR, AR, VR, AI, we're also spending some time talking about internet safety, right? So I think some of this is are places where we're also trying to invest our time and resources, and just on-platform tools that help people, stay safe, to spot misinformation. The other bit that we do is, this is more broadly misinformation, not somebody imitating Raj and trying to, take money off your relatives. But we also have fact checkers. We have, I think in India is the largest set of fact checkers we have globally. We have 11 fact checkers who independently fact check and, fact check information on our platform. So that's how I think our efforts span across. But some of it is also, I would say, my advice would be users can also play a part and think about what they're consuming, whether it's real or not. The last bit I would say is, I think on WhatsApp, one very specific thing that we introduced was, and this was to combat misinformation, was you could forward to any number of people. We put that limit at 5. Right. So if you're heavily forwarded piece of items, you could forward it 5 times. The 6th time it would stop at once. So that was also a way you would combat some of the misinformation we were seeing.
Let's move to a brighter side of it. Is India your largest user base?
India is our largest user base.
How many people use Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp?
We don't break out the numbers, but I'll give you one stat. Facebook, the last time we shared numbers was around 440 million monthlies.
That was only India or worldwide?
That was India. Worldwide, we have 3.88 billion monthly actives. That's a number that we just published. We don't break it down by platform. I'll give you another stat. Facebook globally had 2 billion monthly actives. We recently shared that one stat. So you have Facebook stats for India that's a little bit dated, and we've grown significantly since then. But I would tell you this, and we talked about WhatsApp as well as being ubiquitous in the country. We're very pleased with the growth that we're seeing across our platforms, and they continue to grow for Meta.
Interesting, and I have business questions on this 2-3. I'm very excited to know. One is, last time I read a report, I think a while ago, was 230 million active users monthly on Instagram in India. I don't know if that's true or false, but that was just like some independent research put it up. That was a while ago. I think it was 2021 or something like that. 2022. This was just last year. So I read that, and 231. To me, that was fascinating because a lot of people. So I teach a course where I help people how they can become a creator, how they can build their brands online, how they can expand their businesses by becoming a creator on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, how they can leverage all these platforms and social media. And one question everybody asks me is, hey, do you think that Instagram growth is stunt now? I can't be a creator because all the growth is saturated. अब और कोई नहीं बन पाएगा, अब और कोई बड़ा नहीं हो पाएगा. You know, this kind of thing. And to me, what I always talk to them about this, that if the last dated number is 230 million, okay, India has 1.5 billion people. And the way Facebook is growing, I'm sure you'll reach 90% of the country for sure, right? Because you will make like almost everybody accessible on Instagram or maybe Facebook or WhatsApp, one or the other way. I think jitne abhi tak creators bane, all the people who are there, equally double hone ka chances hai. That's the scope which is left in the country. Do you also believe in this, or I think I'm overestimating, or I'm like super optimistic because I'm in this
Your
industry?
numbers are boggling even in terms of scale. But I'll point to a couple of numbers, right? We talk about internet consumption in the country increasing and there being 950 million people being connected on the internet. That's almost 1 billion people that have access to the internet in the not so distant future. You're talking about people consuming video, right? If you're thinking reels, short form, long form, that's 650 million by, I think, 2026. This is a report that I saw recently. And then you're thinking about platforms where they go to consume content like that. And there are multiple platforms. So I would say, just as you tell the creators, right, that there's room to grow, absolutely, because the Indian economy itself is growing. We're going to be an $8 trillion economy by 2030. 1 trillion of that is going to come from digital, right? So there is momentum, in the country. There's people. We talked about data consumption being higher than China, 3x more than China, right? So people are consuming content, finding interesting things online. And, there's a space for creators to create that engaging content. So you're absolutely right in that the numbers are irrelevant. It's more the direction of growth. And I would say that there is a room for people to... The other report I read was there's 100 million creators already in the country, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, our population is 1.5, though people can... there'll be more people that may decide to do that. You gave up, very comfortable existence to start all over as a creator. So, those are the stories that really excite us, and they're coming from every part of India.
Do you feel that creator economy from here is going to grow? Or do you feel like it's saturated? I'll actually make it better by adding a follow-up. People feel it's a trend. And eventually, so here's why creator economy exists and why people love creators, right? One is authenticity and connection. Second is access. People feel that I'm more relatable and these guys are accessible. Third is trust, that I trust this person more than an average celebrity. But as more and more creators come in the picture, all three things get little flaky and shaky because there are multiple people to trust, multiple authentic people, more brands getting involved. So now the reviews are biased and everything is there. And then people feel that the exclusivity of one guy is a celebrity. Now there are 500 celebrities. The moment there are 500 people and everybody is just like me, it doesn't add up a lot of value that I'll not be a fan of one person. So because of these reasons, do you feel that creator economy or creators in general would slow down and it's just a trend, it'll die out in like a couple of years? Or do you feel like, no, not at all?
No, I actually think the creator economy is just about taking off, right? Because as
just about taking off.
Yeah, I actually think there's huge momentum, but there's continued and sustained momentum. And I think not taking off as in, I don't think this is, sunset. I actually think there's...
Taking off like it's just going to grow from here.
It's going to grow from here, right? So, in fact, one of the things that we did earlier this year was connect brands with creators, right? We call the program Made on Reels. When we actually look at the space, what we also realized was brands also have this interesting... some brands, many of the big established brands are probably huge in metros and are now trying to crack tier 2, tier 3, where there's a lot of emerging Indian internet users who are consuming, who are trying things for the first time, who have disposable incomes that are growing, because prosperity in India is no longer like just, a small set. It's happening nationwide with all the investments the government's making. So I would say that what we noticed was, of course, they're the large established influencers and creators, but equally the micro creators in cities, in in villages that are also very influential and helping move purchase decisions. So this time round, so we'd launched this program, I think in April, if I'm not mistaken, and we were all at a CXO summit that we'd organized last week. And one of the things that came up was, businesses were coming to me and saying, connect me with some of the smaller creators that you've seen, right? So they're also waking up to the possibilities of not just the 1 million, the 2 million, the 3 million, but also somebody who's from my hometown of Vizag, potentially, appealing maybe just to a colony, not even a whole city, but having that cachet and having that pull. So I would say early days, right? So there's still lots of exciting work to be done there. And the other bit is that I also think creators don't always do stuff only to monetize. They do it for self-expression, for fun and passion, to connect with, people who relate with what you're sharing. That's how you started, right? And I think that's not going to change. And when we think about what we want to achieve, it's really to unleash expression in the country, provide that platform where people are expressing, their passions, their thoughts, give that platform for them to show their creativity. So that stays unchanged. So we'll continue to invest, and we hope creators continue to create.
100%. Creators are not going anywhere, at least in terms of creation. Yeah. So tell me, where do you see more growth? Let's say a 1 million creator becoming a 10 million creator, or somebody starting at 5,000 followers and going to the 50,000. Do you see more rise in micro creators or large creators becoming mega creators?
I see both, actually. There are large creators who are making the leap into becoming mega creators.
You feel like there's scope for people to go from 1 million to 10 million, 20 million, or only that is for the early birds?
No, I actually think the platform very much exists and provides you that audience, right? We just discussed the stats of more people coming online, more people consuming content, more people consuming video. So it's not a fixed pie. The pie itself is growing, right? So that has implications not just for established creators getting bigger, but also smaller creators, micro creators coming on and, using the platform and to express themselves. I see the same thing actually even for businesses. I actually think this is going to be pretty revolutionary in terms of small businesses. If you think about India, any number from 60 to 70 million MSMEs in the country. And I think 40% of all our GDP growth is going to come from MSMEs, and GDP contribution is going to come from MSMEs. It's right now 30. So if you think about the India growth story also, I would argue that a lot of it will come from digital transformation that we can drive with MSMEs. And that's not just creators. I know I'm pivoting, but that also gets me excited.
The 65, I was reading another stat recently that 65% of GDP contribution comes from consumption. And consumption means retail and production of consumer goods. And that if in today's world, a consumer brand has to grow, they need to leverage Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp in every way possible. So I think that's also growing. So if 65% of GDP is there, people have to understand these tools, and there are more and more people just coming and establishing from the business point of view. Because now what has started happening is, even though let's say a larger purchase is happening offline, but the buying decision is happening online. Right? A lot of people are discovering products online, influenced online, and then they go off and buy offline. And that gets me to a good question. I don't know about other countries, but India specifically. I'll talk about two companies, okay? One is Google, YouTube. Other is Facebook, Instagram, right? So from day one, YouTube was very focused on making creators mega stars. So YouTube Fan Fest and creators and creator this and creator ecosystem and everything like that. Another end, Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp from day one, they've been investing a lot on building businesses. in terms of communication, in terms of initiatives. Now, obviously, both teams have started doing both the things. Like Meta has started doing a lot of creator summits and creator days, and Google and YouTube has started a lot of YouTube for business and stuff like that. But a larger focus has always been like a creator first and then the business first. Do you think that's a strategy, or only that's like we're just seeing from the outside and making narratives?
Actually, when I think about the country priorities, and I've shared this also publicly, so I can share it here. I actually think of us having, we want to bring value to businesses of all sizes, whether it's small, medium, or large. And that's important because it means that in India, we'll continue to invest deeply in small businesses as well, right? So it's not just building for a super large company, but also thinking about how small businesses get on our platform, how they can grow. Because within that specifically, we actually took a goal of we want to make onboarding for small businesses easy. We want to make it easy for them to find their audiences. We wanted to make it easy for them to communicate with their clients, like whether it's the free app, whether it's, direct messaging on Instagram. We want to like build those tools, give them insights so they can grow their business. So that's something that like we're super committed to. But equally, I talked about, unleashing creativity, right? And this platform of ours, especially Reels, right? If I just give you one stat, and one of the things I've gotten used to in India is scale, right? Just the scale of everything. During the ICC Women's World Cup, we had 1 billion reel plays that were all with that hashtag, right? And that's crazy
worldwide.
number. Yeah.
1 billion worldwide.
No, that was India.
What, really?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? And it was around women's cricket, which was awesome. And I think what you're seeing is that those stats, music, I think 15 out of the 20 most played music clips on Instagram are from India. Globally for Meta. So I think
crazy.
That's crazy, right? That's a huge number. So I actually think that when we think about our priorities, yes, we want to add value to businesses, but equally, I think creators are such an integral part. They make the platforms, right? So, continuing to invest in them as well in terms of how they find tools, how they onboard, how they share. We've been continually listening to Indian creators. So that remains very much an effort, and not just around Reels, but around Threads. When we did the launch, we was really excited about the number of creators that came on for the launch of Threads in the country, and similarly when we launched channels. So that's how we think about it.
WhatsApp conversions, when I talk to D2C companies and consumer goods companies, is mind-boggling. Like, it's crazy. So for all the businesses,
I did not pay him to say that. Truly.
No, I'll come to the bad part as well.
I thought you said this is the bright side.
Yeah. No, I have to play neutral, everywhere. Okay. So I was telling you, so WhatsApp, this is just for everyone, whoever is listening to this podcast. Guys, if you run a business and you're not leveraging WhatsApp chat flow to convert and engage and build a community and convert and upsell and cross-sell, you're losing out big money. Like, the ROI on WhatsApp is insane. Like, it's crazy. I think especially in India, it's amazing.
I said, it's beautiful. I did not pay you to say this, but thank you.
You talk about like small businesses coming online and using Facebook, right? Earlier, everybody knew that Facebook, Instagram ads is underpriced attention. Like, it's like the ROAS, return on ad spends, were like 5, 6, 7. It was amazing. For businesses, it was great that they only get to spend like 15% on advertising and then they get everything back. It was amazing. ROI, return on investment, on every advertisement, every campaign, on yearly basis, it was amazing. But now more and more people discovering this, it's getting expensive and it's difficult to stand out as ads, because now your normal ads, just like a static, is not going to work earlier, which used to work. What do you feel? So there are two things, I'll tell you. One is, a lot of people are saying that now, you know what, if you're running ads on Facebook and Instagram, you're just making Meta rich. You're not actually making money yourself, because you end up losing a lot. It's not possible for a brand to do performance marketing and win in the market. But earlier it was. So, what do you have to say on that? And second, if you believe that, okay, brands are thinking wrong and they're still, because we still do performance marketing and there are a lot of brands which do it, how do we win? What do you think? What is a winning strategy for brands so that more conversions come in, more people watch your thing? What should be the ideal flow? Because I'm definitely sure that what used to work in 2018 doesn't work right now, right?
Firstly, I would say we don't want a rupee from a business that's not finding value from us, right? So I would want that every business have a great experience where, the money that they're spending on our platform is money well spent. And like you just talked about, so many D2C brands, not just on WhatsApp, but on Facebook and Instagram, have found pretty massive audiences, trialed an idea, tested, iterated, and grown on our platforms. So I will give a few things that I think have worked, right, for brands based on, for businesses, and I've worked with them. The ones that succeed, whether you're small or big, is the ones that are constantly iterating and testing on our platform. Not too married to one idea and, chasing all their rupees through that one idea that's not working. But because if you think about our platform, it evolves very quickly. Trends change very quickly. There's Gen Z memes that are doing the rounds, right? There's so figuring out what's the pulse of what's happening across our platforms and finding a way to connect the business as well with a trend is a great way, But equally, testing, like creatives get tired, like you said, right? Ek static may not work. If you're only running that static for 2 years and you're not getting returns, maybe, it's time for a different approach. So thinking about your creatives, thinking about, what's the pulse of what's happening on our platforms, thinking about using more than just static videos, and not all of it has to be fully crafted. So in fact, when we were, and this well, when brands come to you and talk to you, they want you to probably do something that's fully produced, right? Many of them. Whereas the whole joy of a creator is, that impulse, that, and the authenticity with which the creator, connects with the audience. So managing to figure out how you fit in with the medium. So testing and learning, figuring out, the various options our platforms have. So if you're continuously using only one element of what our platforms offer, but not Reels, for example. And I see, businesses doing that as well, because they probably think Reels ko bahut, I'll have to produce it. It has to look like studio level quality. Not every business has to do that, right? And figuring out how to use those where the consumption is also happening, right? Where users are thinking about how to build for that will help businesses get better returns.
I think one thing which a lot of business should look at when they're running ads on Facebook or Instagram, that they are not competing against other brands. They're competing against every content that is getting produced. So if their content by far is better, automatically they'll get more shares and more likes and more conversions on their content. This is what I feel, because think about me as a user. I'm watching one person's reel, then I'm watching another person's reel, and then I see some ad, right? If that ad doesn't feel like an ad to me and it feels like another reel where I'm getting to learn something, I'm definitely going to watch till the end and then I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. And, when you come to buying it, also think about the experience, right? So now we have click to WhatsApp. So you're discovering something on Facebook or Instagram, but you're then taking it to a format where people are comfortable closing off the transaction. Because this another survey that we did with Ipsos talked about how people no longer want to get on calls or get to a website to buy something, but they want to chat with the business and buy it. And that's certainly behavior I am seeing as well. I'm one of that 77%, right? I like to chat with the business. But that's the other thing, like building for those experiences and, being able to handle the queries that you get. So if you get a lot of queries and then you take 20 days to respond, so you're going to have a problem. So I think being super agile, testing, iterating, being willing to fail a little bit, and using the full functionality of, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, and not thinking one as an individual thing, but also the interplay between them would be helpful.
Can you share one insight, one cool tip or advice for all the businesses that are doing something that we don't know, and then you can help us understand, like, here's, if you do this right, probably your business will grow?
Invest. We talked about this, and you, I like I said, I definitely didn't pay you to say that, but the ROI on WhatsApp that we're seeing, right? So I do think there's some businesses that natively start off as WhatsApp first. So it's their storefront, it's their website, instead of the old days of building those pages. But I think that's where maybe a more medium or a larger business is losing out. So my one tip would be, don't think of it as a discrete, like don't think of it as, I have to sell this to Raj, or I have to send a message to Raj on his card statement. Think of it as a full interaction with Raj. And how would you build that? Everything from acquiring Raj as a customer to helping build experiences for you as you use the product or the service, to then upselling you with that's when I think, if you think of it as a flywheel versus a funnel, we think of it as a funnel and we build for each of those. Whereas in WhatsApp, I think thinking of it as a comprehensive journey with a customer would be a great way to build. What that means is that you have to think a little differently, because it may not be just the marketing team. Maybe the customer service team will also have to get involved in the journey early on, right? Maybe you're measuring things a little bit differently and across both the outcomes that you're driving on acquisition as well as on the servicing. And you should measure, because one of the banks that we worked with actually talked about how 12% of all their customer service calls had actually moved to WhatsApp. And those are, so it's not just a small business, it's also large business reinventing and rethinking their workflows and their processes. It could be you reaching out to your distributor, but also servicing your distributor. So I would say the possibilities are many. So my one tip would be, think about how you can use WhatsApp to grow your business. And it's not just small and medium businesses. Bangalore Metro, did you know you can buy tickets on WhatsApp now?
I didn't know that.
It's pretty awesome, and more exciting news to share there across other metros soon. But
nice.
Think about it. Don't stand in line. So you just scan the QR code, which you like.
I do.
And then you buy your tickets, and away you go. So I think as more and more of these things keep getting added, people will naturally gravitate to what works for them and what adds value for them. You asked me for one tip. I'll give you one more tip for businesses, because this is an easy one and they should be doing it already if they're not. We've invested pretty heavily in AI across our product. Everything from taking harmful content down to what you see on your feed to driving business outcomes, right? For businesses. And there's a product suite that we have called Advantage Plus, which works like magic.
Yes, so I know. We use it.
You use it, and so I'm sure you have, success stories to share. But that's something that I've seen also work very well in the Indian context. And it takes away from, putting a lot of thinking around, especially if you're not a native expert and you're not spending all your time running campaigns. Let the platform, decide for you.
Yeah,
and
Advantage Plus is pretty cool. So Advantage Plus is, if I may explain in the right way, you can correct me.
You're doing a better job than me.
No. It's like, so let's say I run an ad and show it to a few people, and then I get conversions. So which kind of people are clicking on it, watching, buying, converting? Facebook or Instagram automatically builds them into one cohort and then shows it to more people which are similar and identical to that audience, so that you don't have to do the job by choosing people. The platform, the AI automatically, the machine learning automatically decides who to show for better conversions. Is that what Advantage Plus is?
So basically, Raj chooses a set of outcomes he wants, and then the platform delivers those outcomes for you, and it's enabled through AI. And it's and in almost every case, we've seen pretty significant returns for advertisers that have used it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. Please let us know, do you like our conversations with the top leaders of top MNCs in the country? Do you want us to get people from Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, and all the other big companies? If yes, let us know which are the companies and the top leadership you are interested in. We'll get them here and try to ask all the questions that you have. Before you leave the show, you know that you have to share this conversation with at least one person to help them. Because if you help one person and they start implementing on the idea which they get from this conversation, their Indian dream will be possible much faster. And overall, as a nation, we'll grow much faster. Until the next episode, keep figuring out.